What is the true cost of wanting something to be real?
In the mid-1990s, deep in the remote jungles of East Kalimantan, Indonesia, a tiny, virtually unknown Canadian junior mining exploration firm called Bre-X Minerals stumbled upon something miraculous.
Building subtle momentum, hinting at the absurdity to come, or so they claimed. What followed was one of the most astonishing market ascents in corporate history.
The site was called Busang. Initially, it looked like just another speculative gamble in a notoriously risky industry.
Junior mining companies survive on hope and press releases. They drill core samples, test the rock, and pray for traces of precious metal.
Then came the assay results from Busang. They weren't just good. They were anomalous. Then they were staggering. And finally, they were simply unbelievable.
Bre-X announced gold concentrations that defied standard geological models. It wasn't a vein. It appeared to be a vast, continuous blanket of gold.
On the Toronto Stock Exchange, the company's share price began its ascent. Penny stock status was left far behind.
Intrigued, painting the key players was John Felderhoff, the chief geologist, and Michael de Guzman, the Filipino geologist managing the site on the ground.
De Guzman was charming, well-liked, and seemingly possessed the Midas touch. Visitors to the jungle camp were treated to hospitality and impressive drill cores.
By 1996, Bre-X's market capitalization surpassed 6 billion Canadian dollars. A company worth virtually nothing a few years prior was now a titan.
Independent auditing firms were brought in to verify the deposits. They tested the core samples. The gold was there. Or at least, the gold was present in the samples delivered to the laboratories. And therein lies the entire architecture of the deception. The gold wasn't in the ground at Busang. It was being added by hand, a process known in the industry as salting. De Guzman and his team were taking local gold dust, often panned by local artisanal miners, and physically mixing it into the freshly extracted core samples before sending them off for testing.
It was brazenly simple. In fact, it was so simple that seasoned professionals assumed nobody would ever dare attempt something so transparently crude on a multi-billion-dollar scale. And here is the part of the story most retellings gloss over. The fraud survived not because the deception was sophisticated, but because everyone involved had a powerful psychological incentive to suspend their disbelief.
Wall Street analysts wanted the big find. Competitors wanted a piece of the action. Regulatory bodies wanted to believe the market worked. When millions of dollars are riding on an outcome, the human brain stops looking for reasons why something is false and starts aggressively collecting reasons why it must be true.
Cracks in the facade began as whispers. Rumors circulated about anomalies in how samples were handled.
Panic was instantaneous, but before the full truth could be extracted through formal investigation, the story took a genuinely bizarre turn.
In March 1997, Michael de Guzman, flying over the Indonesian jungle in a helicopter, reportedly opened the door and plummeted to his death.
Was it suicide? Was it murder to silence the master chemist of the fraud? Or was it an elaborate fake death to escape with millions? To this day, it remains officially unresolved.
Shortly after, independent testing confirmed the devastating truth. The Busang deposit was a complete fabrication. The stock crashed to zero overnight.
Comment below. Do you think you would have spotted the fraud early, or would the promise of unimaginable wealth have blinded you too?
The Bre-X scandal is often remembered as a failure of financial regulation. But at its core, it is a masterclass in confirmation bias.
We tend to imagine that deception succeeds through clever technology or complex manipulation.
Often, it succeeds simply because the target audience desperately wants to be fooled.
If you appreciate history's most fascinating lapses in human judgment, hit subscribe for more stories on why we believe what we want to believe.